Racing games are neat. Arcade, sim, all the ones in between. Since my first taste with Nigel Mansell World Championship on the SNES, hey, I'm old, don't judge me, I have been drawn to racing games. So when I was invited to try out Rally Arcade Classics, I jumped at the opportunity. Much like the fantastic Brody King, this game is very straight edge. I mean, straightforward. It's a rally racing game with various modes to play. You have Tour, Rally, Arcade, Chrono, Events, and Licenses. You have to get your licenses in order to open up more types of races. In order to access higher levels of licenses, you need to collect stars. You collect stars by participating in certain activities and doing well. Despite this sounding like I've created a whole conspiracy board trying to keep track of every detail, I like this progression enough, but I would have liked to have a little less grind and have more upper level races open up a little bit sooner. But this is by no means a big deal. And if you're one of those weirdos who likes to see the percentage completion go up, you know, like me, then you can see the number for each mode. It's a simple layout that has no frills, but it gets the job done. Okay, enough about UI. How's the racing? In a word, it's great. Now, something I have to point out. Don't go into this game expecting a big production. There are reused assets, the landscapes are simple but decent, and there's some repetition that happens, especially at the beginning. In fact, the start of the game was a little too piecemeal for me. I'd hop into a license test and it would be over within 30 to 45 seconds. It felt a little too disjointed. Now, other racing games have done this before, but they usually start the game with a big, here's the full package, kind of a race or spectacle. I think having a big opener would have really helped the initial pacing, but thankfully, it doesn't take too long to start expanding into other modes. Tour is where you can collect stars, and this feels like the main event. It is divided into chapters, with new races opening up as you gather more stars and higher licenses. Within each chapter, you have different types of races, such as time attack versus race and drift. Rallies, where you race against other AI opponents in different countries. I was hoping there might be online races with others, but there are only online leaderboards. This is fine for a rally racing game, and since that's largely how they work, they're essentially just time trials, and that's fine. Events are online special events that cycle on time periods. You go in, do your best, and you're placed in a global leaderboard. It's a nice addition to have someone come back regularly to try and best fellow racers. Arcade mode is where the player faces off against 14 other AI drivers across 4 races. Your overall time between all 4 sections matter, and this mode feels much better than rally mode. The other perk to this mode is that you will win a special car if you finish first. These cars cannot be bought, but rather are locked behind these events. And Chrono is simple time attack mode. My first impressions of the game were, well, they were very mid. The visuals just weren't my preference. I wish they would have just gone full-on retro look or a little bit more arcadey. I mean, this game is called Rally Arcade Classics. To me, that implies a more retro feel and look. There's a replay mode, but it is very bare bones. I also had this weird issue where I couldn't reassign buttons for manual shifting. I would enable manual shifting, then I would go attempt to change the button layout. As soon as I navigated back to the main menu, it would go back to the default. Just switch my shift up and shift down buttons, damn it! Now, I was playing this on Steam, so I thought, I wonder if this is just a weird Steam issue. I closed the game, rebooted, and it was fixed. I assume this is just due to the fact that the option for manual shifting was just recently released. This, along with some online features, were recently added, by the way. This is a bit odd as these are features you'd want from the launch, but hey, they're here right now, so that's what matters. I also found it very odd that I couldn't look behind me, or if there was, I didn't find it. So I had some weird setup issues. The game looked okay, and the initial races, the license tests you have to take to open up more types of races, were too broken up and short for my liking. So what kept me going? The gameplay. There are some wonky impact physics that make the game kind of feel like a Benny Hill skit. There are no maps. Okay, quick side note. I get that this is a rally racing game, so that's more realistic, but this is supposed to be a rally arcade classics racing game, and a map would be a classic arcade feature. Okay, end of side note. And the turn callouts are sometimes a bit off. I can't tell you how many times I was told medium right, only to be greeted with the hardest of turns. Needless to say, I developed trust issues playing this game.
Do anything we wouldn't do ourselves.
Holy crap! What is happening?
But through these little annoyances, the way each car handles and feels is wonderful. Once I had my setup configured and got past the initial test, I couldn't stop racing. The game evolves into a mix of arcade and sim that works very well, and it just feels great to race through these sections of road. Honestly, I would start playing, then realize it was suddenly 45 minutes later when I only hopped on to play for about 10 minutes. There are also the typical camera angles to use. Personally, I'm an above the hood kind of guy, but I cycled through all the camera angles and I came across something that I really want to highlight because it's an interesting camera angle. The camera was quite a distance back and up That's right, I said up. It would also sort of turn along with the track. If you ever played The Art of Rally, then you'll have a grasp on what I'm talking about. I didn't use this camera a ton, but it was such a neat feature that was added that I had to mention it here, and I'm sure some might prefer this camera. It really gives the game a more arcade feel, almost like those old Ivan Stewart arcade games. Again, I know I'm dating myself here, stop judging me. One other thing that I really vibed with was the music. Not all of it is great, and it can get a little repetitive, but let me tell you, some of these songs I really thoroughly enjoyed, especially when they went more along with the punk rock route. If you're looking for a full production, massive racing game with the latest and greatest graphics and physics, you'll want to look elsewhere. But if you're looking for a fun rally racing game that won't break the bank and doesn't require you to endlessly navigate through menus and just gets you into the races of all sizes, then you can't go wrong with Rally Arcade Classics. With the most recent updates of the game, this is a good recommendation from me. It has its flaws, but damn it, the feel of the racing is great, and that's what I care the most about.